Take two. Welcome back to Northern Perspective, everybody. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Tanya.
And we did pay our electric bill. So,
yes, we did.
Before we get to anything, let's just start with house rules.
The house rules are the same three as always. And as usual, I was right down to the wire, so I haven't pasted them in chat yet. But they are, number one, please respect each other and the show. Number two is no selling, soliciting, or spamming in the chat. And number three is please do not use profanity. Keep it parliamentary. The
Wonderful.
Moderators this evening, we have Dawn, we have Barnaby's going to be joining us in a little bit. We have Cujo, I saw Randy, and I believe Justin.
Randy! Have you been hanging out with Randy?
I believe Jester's going to be joining us a little bit later as well. Barnaby will be taking questions tonight for the Q&A portion of the show. Just hang on to those questions for now. As soon as you see him in the chat, you can start tagging him with your questions.
Perfect. Yes, Tanya has a cowgirl hat. She got it last summer.
I did. I bought it at Boots in the Creek from, I believe it was Nikki's Western Outfitters, I want to say. They are local here in Ontario. And I was having an awful hair day because those of you who are in and around the Hamilton area know it was like 30 degrees today and very humid. So my hair is not cooperating.
There you go. So Megan Bartlett says, no one could blame me for missing the power bill in this economy. Isn't that the truth? But, don't worry. Carney's going to make everyone's electricity bigger or electricity bill cheaper. You just have to wait 25 years.
Oh, my God.
Come on. This guy he's the king of just wait. Just wait. We're going to do something.
I'm not going to tell you what exactly, but
it is kind of brilliant. Look at all these announcements we're going to make. But you can't judge us. You won't even be able to tell if it's working until after the next election. So just trust me, bro, and elect us again whenever that happens, and you'll get a better government. I swear. Pinky swears. Pinky swear. He's the king of the pinky swear. That's what I'm probably going to start calling him.
Well, and they didn't say exactly how.
Wait a minute. Sorry. I just have to get this out. Does that mean we're talking about Pinky and the brain, but there is not a brain? Pinky and the Chihuahua is basically what we're talking about. Okay, anyway.
But they didn't say exactly how they're going to increase our energy output, or not that I heard anyways. Maybe they did, but I didn't hear it. I'm wondering if it's going to be nuclear, and I am a proponent of nuclear energy, but I also wonder if it's kind of a conflict of interest.
Is it going to be a Westinghouse?
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go. Tanya, you need more bad hair days so we can see you wearing your cowboy hat. So, well, and hopefully in a week or two, we're going to be able to provide some more information about the Stampede event that we are going to be having in Calgary. And we do want to give a shout out to Tara and JR in Calgary. Tara is helping us coordinate that, which is amazing, since she's on the ground and has done things like this before, which is great. So there's things that happen in your life where the universe just taps you on the shoulder and like, you are right where you're supposed to be. And it's interesting. That's all I'm going to say. It's interesting. But it's a pity we can't announce that today, but that's okay. We have some other things to announce. So here's the first thing to announce, which many of you were asking for us to, put together kind of like an events calendar type of thing. So we are going to start doing that because
we're going to be busy.
My goodness, things are getting busy. So I know we're already halfway through May, but this is the rest of May. So, on Tuesday, we are going to be in Sarnia, Lambton, Bekejwanong. I'm impressed that I actually got that right. So hopefully that shows respect to everybody that is living in that riding. So that's going to be at 6:30 p.m. in Sarnia. And the fabulous Melissa Lanceman, along with 4 other members of Parliament, I'm told, will be there. So that's going to be a phenomenal event. And then we have Let's Take a Look with MP Connie Cody and the Cambridge EDA. So that's going to be at 6:30 as well. You can register at cambridgecpc.ca. Now, this is going to be a pretty neat event because we are going to be, well, it's going to be an EDA event similar to some of the other ones that we've done, but very different in other ways. So we are going to be doing a live taping of a episode that will be aired on the YouTube channel, and we are going to be giving people the opportunity to actually be on camera at some point, whether it'll be in that episode or
If we'll like put a montage together or something.
yeah.
We haven't quite figured it out yet, but
you'll be on the channel. So so it is a fundraiser for the local EDA.
And you might be asking, why does an EDA need funds right now when we're probably 3 years away from an election? And the answer for that is because when the either candidate or MP, whoever it happens to be, travels around to different ridings to try to support the other conservatives, that costs money. The EDA pays for it. When they do things like pints in politics, that costs money too, and that helps pay for it. So that's why they are doing a fundraiser.
Well, and when they do EDA barbecues, when they do
Yep.
super canvases, and they have to feed the people that come out there, that all comes out of the EDA budget, right? So so the campaign for the next election has already begun. So that's why you are going to be seeing, not just in Ontario, all across the country, you're going to be seeing EDAs running fundraisers from from time to time. And we encourage you to get involved in any way possible. Don't let the next election go to chance. So, so that's going to be a fun one to go to. And then last but not least, we're going to be at the CCFR, or the Canadian Coalition for Firearms Rights Annual General Meeting. And that is going to be on this Saturday from 10 a.m. until 7:30 p.m. I don't know if we'll be there the whole day, but we are going to be there definitely for the dinner and for some of the speeches and festivities afterwards. So so hopefully we'll see some folks from NP Nation out there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So so Cambridge, get ready. NP Nation's coming to town. So anything else that
Yeah, there's a few other items for housekeeping intros that I have before we get into the main meat of the show. Number one is petitions. There are currently 5 petitions that members of NP Nation have asked me to promote, and they are all linked in the description of this video. The newest one is at the top. This one is Miriam's petition, and it is number 7373, and that is for it is to establish a formal process requiring any member of parliament who changes their party affiliation during a parliamentary term to seek the approval of their constituents through a transparent and democratic mechanism before continuing to sit under a new affiliation. And that one is sponsored by Melissa Lantzman. All of these petitions are currently open for signature. So if you're looking to sign some petitions, they're all right there at the very top of the description. The other thing that I wanted to introduce is I started a Facebook page for NP Nation Pets. It's called Northern Perspective. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been around for about a week now, and everybody's posting photos of their animals, and it's just a great fun place if you need like some eye bleach and just want to decompress from politics for a little while.
There's no politics in the in the Facebook page,
unless you have a pet who's named after a political figure, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's almost up to 100 members already.
Yep,
so
it just hit 100 today.
Oh, there
so come out and join us. It's a lot of fun. Everybody's just posting their fur babies and scale babies and fish babies and whatever babies they happen to have. So
except human babies.
Yeah, except for human babies. Just want pets. But if you do apply to join the group, it is a private group. There are 3 membership questions just to weed out the bots and the trolls. So just please make sure you answer all 3 of those, and you'll be accepted. And
so there
then
you go.
The last one is that we do have new merch in the store. I know we spoke about that a few weeks ago. I just wanted to show this one off because it's awesome. There we go.
So there you go. I'm a political cow girl. So.
And we did listen. We heard that everybody was tired of black, so we have a lot more colors in the new merch line.
So there you go. And plus, for t-shirts, black is a little bit warm during the summer.
Yes, it is.
But I have to say, I actually really, really like the political cowboy shirts, and again, another shout out to Holly Gadori from Create Inc. She just does really, really fabulous designs. So,
and with the cowboy and the cowgirl shirts, the t-shirts, it's on the front. The hoodies, it's on the back because we couldn't fit the graphic with either a pocket or a zipper running down the center. So just keep that in mind.
And if we want something printed on the front and the back, it significantly adds to the price, and we want to make sure that we're being as graceful as possible to everybody's pocketbook. Now, speaking about that, so YouTube is doing something annoying. So what they've done is they've said that what they're doing is they're going to be harmonizing membership prices across the board. And what they've done is they've used the excuse that we're trying to match the exchange rate properly to membership prices. It's a bunch of BS if you ask me. So what they've said is they're recommending that our base membership price go from $4.99 to, I believe it's $5.99.
Well, they're not even really recommending it.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
Yeah, they're basically saying we're recommending it,
we're
but you don't have a choice.
But we're forcing you. Now, for members who are currently members, your price, to our understanding, will not change.
It'll be grandfathered in.
Yeah, if you're paying $5 a month right now, it'll still be $5 a month. But if you let your membership lapse and then try to get it renewed at a later date, then it will be at the new price.
So now, curiously enough, they're not changing NP Supporter Plus, which is the $24.99 one. But in our humble opinion, this is just a money grab for YouTube because they get 30% of everything that we get. So we just think that this is a poor excuse to actually jack up their profits. So we've tried to find ways to keep it at $4.99, and we can't do that with the current membership type. I do have an idea later to try and still keep a membership at $4.99. So stay tuned, because we do want to make sure that we are respecting everyone's pocketbooks as much as possible. So, but I have an idea. So hopefully I can circumvent their system. So,
but they're forcing us to do it. I believe the date was June 15th. So we're just not touching anything until then. And unfortunately on June 15th, it'll automatically go up. So,
and this isn't unique to us.
It's happening to everybody.
It's happening to everybody. So don't be surprised if you notice, like if you're a member of any other channels, that membership fee goes up. Just keep in mind.
But again, if you're a member currently, you will continue to pay the price you signed up at.
Yeah. So, but stay tuned. I am the IT guy, so I have an idea. I'm hoping I'll be able to circumvent this, and I'll have a update for folks later. So, anyway, so I think that's
all the housekeeping stuff, just to get out of the way. If you are looking to join us at any of those events we mentioned, I will be putting the links to them in the description of this video afterwards, right underneath where the petitions are.
Now, we are one more housekeeping item. We are 1,000 likes behind, folks. So if you could please give us that like. Hopefully you joined after the debacle at the beginning, so where the camera didn't work. If you choose not to like the stream because of that, I get it. I get it. But it does help YouTube push the stream out, so people can actually be notified that it is that the stream is actually on, so other people of NP Nation can get it to pop up for them. So that would be fantastic. And speaking of that, double check your subscriber status to Northern Perspective as well. YouTube has been trimming as they usually do. So, and we do often hear about people that say I had to resubscribe again. So double check your subscriber status, make sure that you're signed in.
And sorry, just one more thing, because I saw someone say that they answered the questions to get into the Facebook group. I have to go and manually and approve them, so I will be doing that after the live stream. So if you're wondering I answered them, why can't I see anything? I haven't had an opportunity to approve it yet.
Anyway, happy May 2-4, everybody. Let's get some of the pre-chat activity. Okie dokies. All right, Whiffers SS for $10. Thank you very, very much. Carney breaking rules his party wrote is like Carl Winslow's boss, Lieutenant Murtaugh, on Family Matters. I made the rules. It's up to me to decide if I want to violate myself. If I want to violate myself. That sounds like a very different show. And it's not family oriented. Just saying.
That sounds pretty bad.
Just saying. Alice Avonlea went for 31 months. In contrast to the brain, the stomach complains when empty. The other way around would be much better. A sad soul leads to unalive faster than illness. Indeed. Indeed. But if the brain's empty, then can you complain at all? That's the question. Capitalist Spy member for 8 months. I love Michael Chong. He's so based. We need more like him. He is.
He's very stoic.
Extremely stoic.
Yeah.
And one of the most respected members in Parliament.
On both sides.
On both sides. Yeah, like across the board.
Yeah.
Just Me Nicole, a member for 28 months. So Guibo resigned. Hope more follow and take the majority away.
Excellent.
Well, yeah, that's the that's the scuttlebutt. How about that? That's the scuttlebutt of what's going on. So, and we have the Immigrant Beaver for $5. UN Climate Committee went whoops this week. Very interesting that Carney is doubling down on climate change when the UN just said, our bad. Yeah, it's going to be, we're like the only one chasing net zero at this point.
It's ridiculous. Again, why put your citizens into poverty when Canada's total carbon footprint is like 1.5% of the entire world? And China makes like a Canada's worth of carbon footprint like extra every single year. So even if we did get net zero, China would make up for it next year. You know what I mean?
I haven't seen that Jibo has actually resigned yet, though. I know he resigned cabinet, but I know he's been evasive, but haven't seen that for sure.
Yeah,
so
he's been pouty.
if anyone has a solid link to that, where he said that, let us know. Jessica Van Luke for $7. Be sure to follow Ryan Williams and Michelle Ferreri's new podcast, Household Matters Podcast. I know you all can do it, NP. There you go.
Yes, I saw it pop up on my Facebook feed, but I haven't had enough time to sit and watch an episode yet. But
Michelle is very busy. Like,
I don't know how she does it.
She's like the Energizer
she's
Bunny.
She's a superwoman, yeah.
She's the Energizer Bunny. I wish I knew how that, like, we're busy. I don't think we're
busy, but we're always exhausted.
Yeah. And Cindy Wright for $10. Here I sit sick in bed on such a lovely day in Hamilton. Well, at least we're kind of kindred spirits there, Cindy, since I couldn't really move because of my back. But I don't know what I would rather have: extreme pain shooting through my legs or sick in bed. That's a tough call. Anyway, finally became a member last week after following you both forever. Thank you for making politics fun, and happy Victoria Day. Well, thank you very much. And we've met Cindy on a couple of occasions. Wonderful, wonderful lady. Volunteers on campaigns, goes out door knocking. That's a committed member of NP Nation right there. So I hope you feel better, Cindy.
Sorry. Before we continue, Barnaby is in chat now, so please tag at Barnaby from Northern Perspective with your questions, and we will ask them, or answer them rather, in the Q&A portion of the show.
All right!
And we have, I believe this is Brian Campbell. Just double checking here.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. For $20. Thank you very, very much. Hi, Ryan. Saw your post at the beginning of the week about the guy complaining about support for PP. I would rather listen to the truth than the never-ending lies from the Liberals and mainstream media. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's been a very interesting thing happening this week. I just don't appreciate people, and especially someone who is a candidate for a political party, accusing us of taking money or making backroom deals, and like getting paid to go to these EDA events because
and presenting no evidence for it.
Because we volunteer to go to these events because we believe in it. We believe in the conservative message, and we believe in the conservative community. And, you know, when Ryan lost his job, it was almost 2 years ago now, like, we weren't sure what was going to happen. Like, we're kind of like, okay, we have a little bit of money saved up and we're still getting a little bit of income from YouTube. But it was really you guys who supported us and helped us get through. And, you know, it's time for us to pay it back. And we're going to keep paying it back as often as we can. So I really don't appreciate people, like, impugning our character in that way, because we really are doing this on a volunteer basis.
There's 2 dates that really stick out for me for last year. One is June 17th. Actually, there's technically 3.
It was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. But there's 2 dates that really 3 dates that stick out for me. So there's June 16th, June 17th, and June 23rd. June 16th was the last day that we were anonymous, and I remember towards the end of the live stream, we were on with Chris Barber and Tamara Leach, and we were just discussing, you know, the status of their case and everything like that. Tamara and Chris had known at this point who we were, and knew that we were going to be, well, coming out, as it were, on the 17th, and we'd said to NP Nation at that point, you know, the most important video in the history of Northern Perspective is going to drop tomorrow, and we need your help. And then, of course, the 17th, because that was the day that we first went on camera, but the 23rd, because that was the first live stream since then, and Canada just wrapped their arms around us, right? So,
and I think this is what it means to build a community, and I think as conservatives, we do that very well, and I don't understand why an individual from another political party is trying to tear us down instead of trying to build their own political party up.
Now, and this is, you know, about community. Sometimes you need to borrow a cup of sugar, but sometimes somebody else needs to borrow one from you. And that's what community is all about, right? So, you know, we are trying to give back as much as we can. And, you know, it's interesting because people didn't used to be incredulous about people doing things for other people with no,
like pro bono,
with no expectation of anything. You know, we don't go to these EDAs expecting favors or anything down the road. We go there because we think it's the right thing to do, and we go there because we hope that we can bring people out. We go there, honestly, it all comes back to Kelly DeRitter's Get Out the Vote event in the advanced polls. If you haven't seen that interview we did with her earlier this week, please watch it. She's one of the amazing new MPs from the Kitchener, Waterloo, and Cambridge region. She said that because of you guys, we added another 60 people to her campaign volunteer team. And that I knew there was more. I just didn't know there was that many. So that's kind of the inspiration that we've used to go out to these EDAs. And people say to us, well, you don't get paid? No. Well, it costs you money. Yes, it does.
Especially when we have to fly.
and they're just sitting there like scratching their heads. I'm like,
but you know, it's honestly because we believe in it, and we meet so many amazing Canadians when we go to these events. It's just fantastic, and the fact that we can all get together and we can all work towards a common cause and try to make Canada an amazing place again. You know, the Canada that we remember.
So, anyhow, just rack up the accusations. So we're Russian bots, we're liberal shills, we're conservative shills. Somehow
we're paid by the party.
We're paid by the party.
What else? There were some really defamatory ones which we're not going to repeat.
Russian agents. I think I'm not sure if I've said that anyway. And you know, instead of just sitting here and denying it, which is dumb, we say, fine, give me the proof. And I'm still waiting. I'm like Mr. Bean on the side of the road. I'm still waiting. Anyway. Well, that you sure got your money's worth on that one. So, JD Crew, member for 12 months, 1 year of quality content. Love being part of NP Nation. Amazing.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Legion 14 for $2, establishing battlefield controls.
That must have been when the screen was playing.
Probably. Jessica Van Luke for $7. Having a toxic family that blames me and my mom for everything is not fun. Had a fallout with my family this week. Would appreciate your thoughts.
Is that something you'd rather say in email or?
Yeah, Jessica, send an email.
Ryan has some experience.
I have some experience, and
so I'm sure he can provide some advice.
Yeah. So, we have Malay Loves Cats for $10. Thank you very, very much. What a nice T-shirt you have there, dear Tanya. Purr. I love both of mine. Have a great live, both of you.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing the photos. That was awesome.
Yep.
The royal blue actually looks really nice. Because I ordered a whole bunch. Like I ordered some for the kids, like Vincent, my niece, and my nephew. And then I ordered one for my sister. She got the indigo. That one looks really sharp. And then I got the blue one for me, like the light blue one. But the royal blue looks really nice.
Jessica and Luke for $2.79. Tanya's got the cowgirl hat on today.
Sure do, because my hair's a mess.
HC Dave for $2. Tanya Davies. Nope, not tonight. She is Tanya Tucker. Love it.
You sure about that? Right.
Real Steven Yenser for $5. What is the view in Ontario, Ottawa of the never to be built pipeline deal Daniel signed with Carney? Do they believe independence is about one pipeline? So I don't believe independence is about one pipeline. From talking to some different folks, in terms of this pipeline, there is so many strings attached to it. We'll see, but again, they're like, well, construction, may start next year if. Okay, well, again, here's the issue. I don't think you're going to get an external party that is going to literally sign and commit billions and billions of dollars with this current legislation still in play, like C-69 in the tanker ban. Why would you? That's like, it's cost-benefit analysis plus risk analysis. And there's something that we use in business called an FMEA, failure mode error analysis. Failure error mode analysis. And it's just evaluating risk. So your risk is still too great if you're a third-party gas company that is looking to invest to build a pipeline worth tens of billions of dollars in Canada when there's all this legislation that can kill it immediately. So why are you going to waste billions and billions of dollars? This is why there has been no investment here. This is not Pierre Poilievre just making stuff up. It's the reality. And we saw that reported by the Globe and Mail when they said, hey, guess what? Venture capital investment in Canada was at 0 in the last quarter.
That's bad.
But my Mr. Carney said that everything was going to get better. So venture capitalism went to 0, and we lost 110,000 jobs in the first quarter.
I think it was in the first 4 months. But still, that's a lot of jobs. We did lose a lot of jobs in the first quarter.
A lot. And Miriam Michelle for $7. My cockapoo would be a much better and trustworthy PM than Carnival Carney ever could. Completely agree. Leap Busby for $7. I don't believe any pipeline is coming. The reason why, the climate cult in the LPC did not immediately resign across the floor.
Touche.
Can you imagine if they crossed the floor and went to the NDP? I would laugh. I would laugh so hard. And to the point where they got party status. Can you imagine?
Could you imagine? That would be crazy.
They'd have to reconstitute committee again. Because not only would the Liberals be back into a minority setting, but then the NDP needs to be it would be this would be the most craziest parliament probably in the history of Confederation, aside from Daryl Stinson walking across the floor to challenge another NP to a fight
did he
for
take
calling
his
him
coat off?
yeah calling him a son of a parliamentary and Yeah. Daryl.
Oh my gosh. That was like the best old timey clip that we found.
Meanwhile, the speaker, order please. Order. Dude's walking across the aisle to challenge a guy to a fight, and the speaker's just like, order please.
Okay, let me see if I can find that video while Ryan 3D Superchats, and I'll drop the link in the chat because it's hilarious.
Well, yeah. Well, just find the link, the one that we did, right?
Yeah.
If you need a laugh, and you've already gone through the Don Davies press dinner, here's another one. Peter Witten for $2. Can the Griffey join? He is political.
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, as long as he doesn't talk politics.
There you go.
It's supposed to be like just a friendly, fun, eye bleach kind of place. Yeah. Because you know what? Honestly, there's days where I am just like, you know what? I've had enough of politics. I don't want to think about this anymore. I just want to hang out with my cats, right?
Tail in the Dark for $28. Hi, Ryan and Tanya. What are your thoughts on the growing pressure facing Keir Starmer? And could that be a sign that Parliament may eventually force Mark Carney to resign too? P.S. I love your hats.
Thank you.
Not right this minute, but I think it is definitely a possible foreshadowing of what could come, right? I really do. Because, people ask us, when do you think Canadians are really going to start to wake up? And we said probably about a year. Because Canadians gave them a year from the election. Now they're going to, it's almost like that grace period has reset because now they have the majority. And then they say, well, okay, fine. Let's see what they do with the majority now. So if nothing happens, that's going to be an issue. And I think that Trump is going to pull the rug out from Carney when it comes to Kuzma. Had some conversations with some folks, and they had suggested that, and I think that's a very plausible possibility where the U.S. says, you know what, Canada hasn't come to the table, so we're just going to side with Mexico. That could very well happen. Mark Carney will try and blame that all on Donald Trump, but meanwhile, Mark Carney hasn't done anything. Well, he's convened a committee. Like, yay, he's convened a committee.
All right.
But what exactly is that committee doing? Who knows? So I think it's going to be interesting. I think Canadians are going to finally, slowly, but wake up and realize he hasn't done anything. All he's done is said, just wait, pinky swear, in 2 years, 3 years, 25 years, things will get better, don't worry. And I think people are going to see it for the con that it is. So, and that could force him out. And Parliament could get real crazy at that point. Dragon Lord 69 for $5. Good evening, MP Nation. I was wondering where to register for the event in Wyoming.
If you give me 30 seconds, I will put that link in chat as well. I just finished finding the one of Daryl Stinson, so I'm going to drop that in the chat right now for
So you can watch that
a
after.
minute or two, so you can bookmark that. I'm going to put it in the description later, and then I will get the link for Wyoming.
Carney.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry.
Peter Witten, upgraded to MP Supporter Plus. Thank you very, very much for that, Peter. And Mumblin May, great to see you. Member for 26 months. Hello, Ryan and Tanya. Looking forward to NP meetup in Calgary. Have signed up on Northern Perspective. There you go. Awesome. And Curdy for $10, sending love to NP and to your awesome young man. Thank you very much for that. Dudu for $10. Great to see you. Here's a shocker. The woman Carney appointed to go over Canada's finances just revealed Carney and Liberals are doing a bad job. It was just released today. Isn't that funny? And, credit where credit is due. Way to go, Annette Ryan. And this is also what we were saying. Jason Jakes is still working in that parliamentary budget office. So, evidently him and the whole team there, they all should get a lot of credit because they were accredited by internationally acclaimed organizations for being one of the best at holding their government to account when it comes to finances and budget. and evidently they're continuing to do so. So it would be painfully obvious if the Parliamentary Budget Office put together a report that showed that Carney was doing a terrible job, and then Annette Ryan came out and said, Mark Carney's doing great.
But okay, isn't it sad that we have to like be excited and congratulate the Liberal PBO when they do their job?
Yeah.
No, when they do their job correctly, which
Right.
is to hold the government to account.
Yeah. So
Anyway, Wilson Weber, I did find that link. I'm going to drop it in the chat right now.
Liberty for $5. Guibo is still waiting to see if a pipeline gets built. Probably. He started his watch. So, let's see. And Dudu for $10. I do hear Carney's losing 2 MPs, which could mean he loses 2 votes and also losing a 3rd vote for appointing his speaker. So he is losing more power almost immediately. Yes. So he is losing Nathan Erskine Smith, who is confirmed to be leaving, and he's also losing Jonathan Wilkinson. So he's going to go from 174 down to 172. So you're correct, but he needs a perfect vote with his speaker voting for them for any new bills during those by-elections. Now, if I was Mark Carney, I'm going to stagger those.
Yeah, because that's a problem. If you constantly have the speaker showing partisanship and voting with the rest of the party, that is problematic. Like it sends a bad image to the public.
So if I'm Mark Carney, I'm calling one of those by-elections immediately, and then I'm waiting a couple of months because he has 6 months to call the by-election. So if I'm him, I'm making sure that I'm only losing 1 seat at a time over that period of time. So we'll see what happens. But every seat counts. And that means that the people in that minority or that majority government, all those backbenchers that get ignored all the time, they get a lot more power. So it'd be interesting to see how the party dynamics change.
Well, and it also means that whenever Mark Carney's out of the country, he can't vote.
Correct.
So,
and he loves being out of the country.
Right. So that creates a problem.
And if he takes any entourage of ministers with him, that creates a problem as well. Right? So now, speaking of Mark Carney, I'm sorry, but speaking of Mark Carney, at least I'm not talking about Justin Trudeau. He posted something interesting on Facebook this week, and I couldn't help myself. I'm not going to bother to show you my response, because my response has been to create a whole segment on the live stream for it. Right? So you don't need to see my actual written response. That was about 3 or 4 lines. So 3 or 4 lines is going to turn into a full mini episode of Northern Perspective. So he posted something, and it's to do with Russia. It's to do with Ukraine. But I think we need to remind everybody that it has less to do with Ukraine and Russia and more to do with China. So let's take a look. So Mr. Carney posted this on May 14th at 11:55 a.m. Yesterday, Russia launched one of its largest drone and missile attacks on Ukraine in 4 years. Canada unequivocally condemns these indiscriminate attacks. I express my deepest condolences to those injured and everyone mourning their loved ones. Canada stands with Ukraine as it defends itself against this unconscionable aggression, and we will work with allies to sustain pressure on Russia to bring this conflict to an end. And I'm very surprised that I did not find the word catalyze in there. But keep in mind the words Russia, launched, and drones. Just keep those words in mind. Okay? Because those are going to be very important in a minute. He posted this a little bit earlier. So this was on May 6th. And he says, Canada and Europe share the values of freedom, rule of law, democracy, and pluralism. These values are the foundation of what we are building together. It's funny. It's not very often that I like the option see less in Facebook, but whenever I'm looking at one of his posts, I do like that option. And even in the transcripts of the video that this was actually from, you can see it starts with our shared values are born. Okay? Okay. Well, as we know, one of the countries that Mark Carney loves to visit is the UK. And he loves getting praise from King Charles. He loves advertising that King Charles has validated appointments of the Governor General. He loved that all the pomp and circumstance that King Charles had when he came here to give the throne speech. And he loves to share how European Canada could be. Okay. Just for the sake of argument, I believe Mark Carney. Just for the sake of argument, I agree with Mark Carney.
Let's just pretend.
We share values. We share the same opinions. We share the same thoughts with our brothers and sisters in the UK government. Just for the sake of argument. Now, this is interesting. UK imposes 100 new sanctions targeting Russia's revenues and military supplies. So, if we share our values with the UK, then clearly we should share this. The UK government has implemented 100 new sanctions designed to hit Russia's revenues and military supplies, including against its so-called shadow fleet carrying oil and electronics companies. Sanctions have also been imposed on the China-based Shenzhen Blue Hat International Trade Corporation and its Russian co-owners, Alina Malichaka and Alexei Malitsky, and Turkey-based Mastomakana. I'm not even going to bother to pronounce the rest of that because I will butcher it. Limited. So, why is this important? Well, it's important because shortly after those sanctions, the PRC lost its mind and was jumping up and down about these sanctions that UK was actually putting against these companies. Well, why would you be upset about that, PRC? It's not you, right? It's not one of your state-owned companies, right? It's not like China has been helping Russia in the war of Ukraine, right?
Oh, wait. We already talked about that a few weeks ago.
Wait. Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Chinese now have just discreetly built literal supply lines, railway lines that go to drone factories in Russia. Open source suggests that 60% of the Russian effort is being covertly bankrolled by China.
Well, I think things have changed.
It's absolutely useful for China to keep the West occupied in Ukraine. It's also quite useful for China to keep Russia occupied in Ukraine.
It's eyes wide open.
China didn't instigate Russia's attack on Ukraine, but what it's done is enable its continuation.
Well, I think things have changed.
It suits China to have this war ongoing.
It's eyes wide open.
It would be very happy to see Europe tied up spending a lot of its GDP on defence against something that looks like a frozen conflict around Ukraine, Belarus, etc., etc.
The negotiations that we've had with China have been more predictable and much more stable.
The world in which we need to start relying on China, this is not a world where human rights matter.
Yeah.
This is not a world where democracy matters.
You said it, Christia. Oh, wait. Right. You said it, Michael. Oh, no. No, I'm running out of liberals. You said it.
Handong.
Well, he's gone. But okay, so that was the Air Marshal, the UK Air Marshal, giving a briefing. Recall, and what he said right there, and what I told you to remember from the beginning, launched drones. 60% of Russians' drones are coming from China. So Mark Carney stands up and he wants to look all noble and statesmanlike and condemn the attacks on Ukraine from Russia. Well, if he really believed that, why are you entering into a strategic partnership with the country that is supplying Russia with all of their drones? So you can't really say that anymore, Mr. Carney. You're actually going into that, as Jolie says, with eyes wide open. Because this is not a secret. And I know it's not a secret. And people can say, well, that was from February. That was from February. Okay, fine. Well, let's go back to the UK Parliament in October of 2025 and see what they had to say there. You haven't seen this yet.
The recent SCO summit was striking in its failure to mention Russia's illegal war of aggression against Ukraine, and the noble Baroness Bennett of Manor Park drew our attention to some of the really tragic consequences there. Instead, the gathering was another example of China using its diplomatic engagement with Russia to reduce Putin's isolation on the world stage. We consistently challenge China and other countries' political and military support for Russia, which prolongs this war and isn't in China's interest. China remains the essential state in helping Russia continue the war against Ukraine. That is the government's view. The UK continues to call on China to use its influence to support peace and stability, and that includes urging President Putin to end the war, withdraw Russian troops from Ukraine, and respect international law. And with regard to the noble Lord Bruce's observations, the government works closely not only with European partners but with G7 partners to make common cause on that.
This is the government whip. This is the gentleman in the UK government in the... I'll get to that in a minute. So he's basically the representative from the government who's answering questions, right? Now, this is from the Grand Committee, and this is the Grand Committee of the Lords. So basically what this is the equivalent of is we have something called the Committee of the Whole in Canada, where it's run like a committee, but it is in the House of Commons. Yeah. So committees are normally like 10 people, whereas the Committee of the Whole can be all 343 members of Parliament. Now, they can also have a Committee of the Whole in the Senate, which is our equivalent of the UK's House of Lords. So the Grand Committee is basically the Committee of the Whole in the UK version of the Senate. Which is the House of Lords. Yes. So, he said some striking things right there. And the one that jumped out to me is basically essentially summarized as saying, the only reason Russia can continue this war is because of China. So, when the UK, in their government, is saying that, and then a couple of months later, their air marshal is saying essentially the actual data that is backing that up, that China is supplying 60% of Russians' drones that they're using to attack Ukraine with, as well as other military hardware. And then when they say, we're trying to work with other G7 countries to affect the same pressure on China, and then Canada goes off and secures a strategic partnership with China, Mark Carney then says, oh, well, we share the values with our friends over in Europe and the UK. And then feigns this false remorse by saying, oh, it's so terrible that Russia's attacking UK. We're trying to work and bring about an end to this war however we can. Well, how is that possible, Mark Carney?
Right, we just agreed to buy, 50,000 cars from China per year?
And that's set to go up.
Right. So we're putting money into the Chinese economy, and they are taking that money and supplying drones to Russia. And then we, on the other side, are supplying Ukraine with money. It doesn't make sense.
Well, it can make sense, but we're not going to go down that path right now. But this is fascinating because now we're understanding the geopolitical influences that are going on here. And that's not the end of this, folks. Because now we go into this, which we also talked about. Remember this? Chinese envoy warns Canada against sending MPs to Taiwan or warships through the Taiwan Strait.
The new quote-unquote strategic partnership that Prime Minister Mark Carney struck with China this year would be damaged if Ottawa sends more military vessels through the Taiwan Strait, or if Canadian parliamentarians keep meeting with officials in Taiwan, Beijing envoy says. In an interview Thursday, Wang Di, China's ambassador, said he's optimistic about warming ties between Beijing and Ottawa, but laid down expectations for how Canada deals with the self-governed island of Taiwan going forward. Canadian MPs and senators visit Taiwan regularly on trips paid for by the Taiwanese government, and have done so for decades. The trips have normally included meetings with Taiwan's foreign minister or its president or vice president.
Now, this is something we haven't shown you. This is an official post from the Embassy of the People's Republic of China in Canada. It says, Chinese ambassador to Canada, H.E. Wang Di, conducted an exclusive interview with the Globe and Mail, Canada's largest English newspaper. Now, this is what they put on their post. Addressing the Taiwan question, Ambassador Wang stressed that the Taiwan question is a red line that must not be crossed, since it lies at the very core of China's core interests and serves as a crucial political foundation for China-Canada relations. He pointed out that Prime Minister Carney repeatedly reaffirmed Canada's commitment to the One China policy during his visit to China. He therefore called on the Canadian government, to strictly adhere to its One China government. That's a lot more firm than what was in that Globe and Mail article, let me tell you. And that's no interpretation. That's directly from the Chinese embassy's website. So, I found that very interesting. What I also found interesting is Michael Chong. He is, as we said many times, one of the most respected members, not only in the Conservative Party, but also in the entirety of Parliament. And he looked at this and he said, you know what? I have another idea. I'm going to Taiwan. Conservative MP Michael Chong visits Taiwan to meet President in defiance of China. Now you may be wondering, why would Michael Chong do that? Like, why? Like, what's up with that? Well, I'm just going to take you back to 2023 in the fall. And you talk about obstruction. How about obstructing the fact that 2 Conservative MPs and an NDP MP were being threatened and having their families harassed for 2 years, and you didn't even tell them?
Mr. Speaker, I've just been informed by the National Security Advisor that the CSIS Intelligence Assessment of July 20th, 2021 was sent by CSIS to the relevant departments and to the National Security Advisor in the PCO. This contradicts what the Prime Minister said yesterday. He said CSIS made the determination that it wasn't something that needed to be raised to a higher level because it wasn't a significant enough concern.
CSIS made the determination that it wasn't something that needed to be raised to a higher level because it wasn't a significant enough concern.
Will the Prime Minister correct the record that this report and information was sent to the departments and to the Privy Council office?
You want to talk about obstruction? How about the essence? All right, so that video sucks. That was a YouTube problem. That wasn't an MP problem.
For once.
But so what was going on there is this was right after Michael Chong finds out, because it was leaked, that his family was threatened by the PRC because of how he voted in the House of Commons. This is when Aaron O'Toole found out that he was under threat from the PRC for the same reason. And this is when Jenny Kwan of the NDP found out she was under threat in her family back in China for the exact same reason. So, Michael Chong has a bit of a bone to pick with PRC, understandably so. And he has even more reason to stand up to the PRC and say, you're not going to be pushing Canada around. You're not going to be telling us where we can and cannot go. And the interesting thing about Taiwan is that Taiwan has never actually been part of China since the communist regime took over. That's a very, very important point. Because the communist regime tries to say that, well, they broke away and, they're part of China. And, well, they didn't break away from China as it is as a communist party. So what are you talking about? But this is where we have to play nice with China. Everything's made there. Just want to take 1 second, because I believe that we saw that Wyatt Claypool is in the chat. So just want to say hi to Wyatt and want to congratulate him on all of his work that he's doing over at the National Telegraph, his channel. And
thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for the conversations that we have every now and then, Wyatt. It's always good to get another perspective on this. So hello, Wyatt. And hopefully you're enjoying the show, minus the wonderful difficulties that we have.
Technical difficulties.
So they're not all like this.
It's not usually like this.
They're just mostly like this. Anyway, so let's go back to Michael Chong visiting Taiwan.
A Canadian MP has arrived in Taiwan to meet President Lai Ching-te in defiance of a recent warning from China's ambassador against further trips to the self-governed island by parliamentarians from Canada. Beijing considers the democracy of 24 million people a breakaway province, despite the fact that China's governing Communist Party has never ruled the territory since it took power more than 76 years ago. Conservative foreign affairs critic Michael Chong arrived in Taipei, the seat of Taiwan's government, on Sunday and is scheduled to meet with Mr. Lai, the Taiwanese president, on Wednesday. The MP undertook the trip himself without any direction from the Prime Minister Mark Carney's government. He is personally paying for the cost of the visit. Mr. Chong, who has served as a member of parliament for more than 2 decades, said in a statement he made the voyage to Taiwan, 160 kilometers off the coast of China, to push back against a recent warning by China's envoy to Canada, Wang Di. Mr. Wang, in an interview with the Globe and Mail April 30th, warned that a new strategic partnership that Mark Carney struck with the Chinese President Xi Jinping would be damaged if Canada sent any more warships through the Taiwan Strait or allowed any more MPs or senators to visit the small democracy. The ambassador appeared to be laying out expectations for Canada's behavior as the two countries attempt to build on a truce reached in January 2026, when Mr. Carney and Chinese President Xi Jinping made a breakthrough after a painful trade war and years of frosty relations. China is increasingly trying to diplomatically isolate Taiwan in an effort to take over the island. While few countries have official diplomatic relations with Taiwan, Western countries have built robust unofficial ties to the island.
Well, the fascinating thing about that is if you contrast how the Globe and Mail words that versus the statement on the Chinese embassy site, very, very different interpretation. Because they're pretty hard-lined in the statement on the Chinese embassy's website. And they say, this is a red line. Must comply. Like there's very specific and intentional wording there that they're saying, you must do this or else. Whereas the Globe and Mail's like, well, it appears like they're just nudging Carney that, hey, if you don't do this, then, the relationship could be damaged. I don't get that opinion. I get a different opinion. Anyway, we continue.
The Chinese ambassador, in his interview last month with the Globe, did not distinguish between MPs with the governing Liberal Party and opposition parties, including the Conservatives. He said all should stop visiting. In January, 2 Canadian MPs from the governing Liberal caucus cut short a trip to Taiwan just before the parliamentary delegation they were with was due to meet Taiwanese President Lai and other officials. This happened shortly before Mr. Carney's meeting in Beijing with Mr. Xi. The MPs said they were returning home 3 days early, quote, informed by advice from, end quote, the Canadian government.
So, Mr. Chong said that his trip to Taiwan has 2 purposes. 1, to show solidarity with the democracy at the front lines of intimidation from the People's Republic of China. and to assert Canadian sovereignty in the face of a warning from the PRC's ambassador to Canada about Canadian MPs traveling to Taiwan. Quote, during my visit to Taiwan, I will be meeting with Dr. Lai Ching-te, President of the Republic of China, Taiwan, Zhang Niyang, Minister of the Trade Representative, and Dr. Chen Ming-chi, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. I will also be meeting with officials at the Canadian Trade Office in Taipei. Canada is a sovereign and independent country. We do not take direction from a foreign government about where Canadian MPs can travel internationally and where Royal Canadian Navy ships can transit in international waters, Mr. Chong said. So, Michael Chong is laying it out, saying, listen, we're a sovereign country. No country's going to tell me where I can and cannot go. Now, you'll notice that Taiwan is called the Republic of China, and China is called the People's Republic of China. And this is where the one China narrative comes from, where Canada accepts that the People's Republic of China is the actual government of China, and we recognize Taiwan as not China, because if we recognize the Republic of China, aka Taiwan, as China, then that would include mainland China. It gets very confusing. So this is where this kind of comes from. But fascinating thing, and the most disturbing but unsurprising thing, is that since that article dropped on April 30th, Mark Carney's total responses to the ambassador laying out that condition has been zero. He has said nothing. Mr. We're a sovereign state. Mr. We will always be free. Mr. Hegemons will not boss us around. Has not responded to the hegemon that he just signed a deal with. He's being a good little boy and doing what he's told, evidently. Now, Anita Anand was asked a question at a recent press conference, and here's what she said. So kudos to CTV and the mainstream media for doing their job on a more frequent occasion this year.
For Mr. Anand, I wanted to ask you, as President Xi is pushing President Trump pretty hard on Taiwan, I wanted to know why the work on the trade agreement with Taiwan has been halted in our country. Is this something that Canada is no longer pursuing anymore because we are concerned about China's reaction to it?
Thanks for the question, Mike. Actually, Canada has strong economic ties and strong people-to-people ties with Taiwan, and those ties will continue. At the same time, since 1970, Canada has had a long-standing one China policy, and that policy remains in effect. And so those are the two tracks that we adhere to from a foreign policy perspective, and indeed that is what I have reiterated in my conversations internationally.
Okay, I didn't really hear an answer on the pursuing the actual agreement with Taiwan, but I've also unfortunately got a question for Minister McGuinty. So, Minister Anand, if you'd like to jump in to follow up on that, that's up to you. But Minister McGuinty, I just wanted to know.
I've never heard, but I love that I just did. I've never heard a reporter say, unfortunately, I have to ask a Liberal question.
Love it.
Just saying. Unfortunately, I have to now ask Minister McGuinty a question. Now, why is that important? Because what the question is you were pursuing a trade relationship with Taiwan. Now you're not. Why? Does it have anything to do with what the ambassador said?
Maybe.
I
mean, we don't have the proof, but I'd say odds are pretty good.
We have a one China, path, and we have economic ties to Taiwan. And you can even hear, and that's Mike LeCouture from CTV, and he's like, it's not what I asked, and you didn't answer the question I was asked, but now I have to ask McGinty a question. Go ahead and jump in, Anand, if you want to actually answer the question that I asked. Spoiler alert, she doesn't. And I'm not going to bother showing the question to McGinty. So this is what all comes back to Mark Carney and him feigning concern for the people of Ukraine. But even more infuriatingly, we're sending billions of dollars of aid to Ukraine, only for us to be sending billions of dollars over to China, because Mark Carney wants to increase our trade to China, wants to put more money into China, only for that money to then be used to manufacture drones, to send them up to Russia, to continue the war in Ukraine. So, sorry, Mark Carney, I don't believe you. But you're the one that's trying to say that you're sharing the same values as the Europeans. Well, the Europeans, they don't like what China's doing either. It's probably why they're not doing what you're doing, which is getting into a strategic partnership with them. But most of those leaders probably weren't the vice chairman of a company called Brookfield, which has billions upon billions of investments in the People's Republic of China and don't stand to actually benefit from China doing well. So that Facebook post and my reply, which was with 2 lines, this is the full version of my reply. But there's a character limit in Facebook, so they wouldn't allow an entire Northern Perspective episode to go in there. So that's our mini expose on Mark Carney's Facebook post and his concern about Russia in invading Ukraine when he himself is working to essentially finance it on Canada's behalf. It's insanity. So, all right. Let's see what I missed. Let's see what I missed. Probably lots. Here we go, folks. Peter Witten for $5. I cried when you revealed NP Nation has kept... I cried when you revealed NP Nation has kept me sane over the last few years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, because I was in tears recording it, and that's why we had to do
a couple takes.
There was one I was really angry, and that didn't work either. So, Myron ends for $2. Let's go for 2,000 likes. Absolutely. Where are we at now? We are at 1888, so we have 120 to go.
Okay, if we get to 2,000, I'll drop some memberships in the chat.
Linda Rutgers, member for 24 months. Thank you very, very much. Congratulations on your 2 years. Brian Campbell for $20. Ryan Tanya, if you ever are up in the Grey Bruce area, I will bring a cup of sugar for the 2 of you. LOL. I love it.
Thank you. Is it possible we missed this one from Leonard S?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't recall it.
So $10 super chat. Thank you, Leonard. It says, any news about bills C9 and C22? I called the senators and left a message that I'm opposed to Bill C9. Bill C22 has grabbed the attention of U.S. Congress. Apple and Signal say they will not comply.
Right. And there's a VPN company that has talked about leaving Canada if this legislation goes through as well. So for Mr. Carney and Mr. Investment, Canada's open for business, all these companies want to come into Canada, then why is all we hear is companies that are talking about leaving Canada because of the legislation that you're putting in? This is what we're talking about when we're talking about risk.
Yeah.
So, and they also had Facebook in talking about this at committee, and we're going to be probably looking to cover that this week. Where they're saying, listen, this is a big problem because if the government forces these organizations, these social media organizations to install this hardware or install this software that allows monitoring and data mining from Canadians, Facebook's not allowed to tell people, number one. And then if and when it's found out that Facebook did that, they're saying, that makes us look bad because we're complying with the law and you guys get no mud on your face.
That's a good point.
So there's a lot of concern. And they asked Facebook. So there's talk of, pulling out of Canada when it comes to this stuff. You guys have already basically done that and not complied with C18. And you're blocking news on Facebook. Blocking news, aka complying with the law. would you consider coming out of Canada if that was the case? And they didn't answer. So imagine if Facebook just is now geo-blocked to Canada. That would be something. And then Mark Carney, the Liberals, be like, Facebook is blocking Canada. Meanwhile, the narrative is Mark Carney and the Liberals are blocking Facebook from being in Canada as a result of this legislation. Can you imagine?
Like, just leave the internet alone. You know, Facebook and Instagram and X and everybody, they have their own terms of service. Maybe make them enforce their own terms of service and you won't have a problem.
There are concerns that should be discussed. And the concerns are that Facebook and these social media platforms don't do anything to stop, for example, fake campaign ads to be going across their platform during elections in different countries. That's a problem.
Well, in Canada, it's illegal. So again, enforce your terms of service. You know it's illegal in Canada. Don't let it happen.
Well, but this is where the governments need to be holding these companies to account, right? So there's need to be definitely discussion on there, but you don't have federal agents yet. You don't have federal agents running around listening to everybody talk in their restaurant conversations, in their workplace conversations, and saying, oh, you can't say that. You can't do that.
Not yet.
Not yet. So, you know, we need to be treating the internet to a certain degree like we treat real life.
Well, and that's kind of been our point all along.
Yeah. If you want to say, you know what, nobody can be anonymous anymore on the internet, I'm fine with that.
I'm not, because I mean, sometimes you have like a medical question or maybe an embarrassing situation that you want advice on, but you don't necessarily want your name attached to.
No, but you would have the option of going anonymous like you can in Facebook groups and stuff like that. But for law enforcement reasons, it should be attached to a regular account. And if law enforcement wants it, get your warrant.
But do we not already have that? Like, can they not trace it back to your IP?
So the IP, it goes through a bunch of different steps. So the IP doesn't go directly to your house. The IP goes to your service. So Facebook, they can say, yeah, it's from this IP. The IP doesn't go to your house. It goes to, okay, you know, Bob's internet is in Bell, and it's in a node that's over in Burlington. Okay, so now we have to go to Bell. Bell, I need this IP. Oh, well, you got to get a warrant. Oh, for goodness sake. And then you go and get another warrant for that. So you can talk about that and whether that makes sense.
I think it does.
You can't talk about essentially warrantless spyware. That was the whole Snowden incident. And nobody really liked that. So...
Well, and when they brought it up 14 years ago in the House, they didn't like it then either.
Liberals were all against it, and it was a much more watered-down version than this. So, anyway, hopefully that answers the question. But and the answer is there's a lot more to talk about when it comes to that. So, but thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you to Linda Ruckers for MP supporter for 24 months.
And Bill Tennant for $20. Thank you very, very much for that. Real Stephen Anderson for $5. Did you see Jeff Rath absolutely beat down David Cochrane about the imaginary law of duty to consult, which doesn't actually exist? No, didn't get to see that. But it's always fun to see David Cochrane get a beat down. I would say he's for $2. Wait, you aren't Russian bots? Well, darn. Yeah, I'm subscribed. Sorry.
I think Facebook's skipping some again. We have a $20 super chat from Brian Campbell. It says, Ryan and Tanya, if you are ever up in the Grey Bruce area, I will bring a cup. Oh, you got that one?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome.
And now I'm at Gordon Muir for 10 memberships. Thank you very, very much for that, Gordon. Linda Rutgers for $5. I have had the same problem with my family. We're no longer speaking. It's their issue. If they cannot respect opposition, they don't respect you.
And thank you to Bill Tennant with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much. If you meant to type something, just tag at Barnaby from Northern Perspective, and he will grab the message and we can read it.
Jessica Van Luke for $7. With all that's going on, it's time to interview Liz Truss. We've actually reached out.
Yeah, we have reached out.
So we can try again.
Back, yeah.
Megaman Zero for $10. I find it very appalling that so much corruption is unveiled and not even a slap on the hand is happening. I want jail, not fines. Jail for having caused so many misery and death and suicides in Canada. I don't disagree. Yeah. I think there needs to be massive reform. I think the biggest problem in the Canadian government is that corruption does not necessarily equal crime.
Well, and it doesn't necessarily equal jail time either. I mean, if you're the CEO of a company and you're cooking your books and you're doing all sorts of unethical stuff, you could end up in jail. Why don't our politicians end up in jail if they're doing something that horrible and corrupt?
Well, this is where, and this is because the politicians make the laws, right? But this is where we need to put something, we need a courageous government that gets in and is willing to actually put some of this stuff and put massive conditions on repealing it or changing it. And in my opinion, it's not my opinion, it's Larry Brock's opinion. And it's a fact. The way justice works in this country is the higher up you get to government, the less justice there is. We need to reverse that pyramid.
Yeah.
The people that have the most responsibility with the widest ability to change things in this country should be held to the greatest account and the maximum amount of scrutiny. And if you screw up, if you do something like, oh, well, you know, we enacted the Emergencies Act and we really shouldn't have, there should be actual consequences for that. If you're caught breaking the ethics laws, there should be more than a $200 fine.
Oh, it goes up to $500, I thought.
Oh. Wow. There should be a percentage-based fine there. That way, it follows you no matter how far your salary goes. And there should be jail time with it.
And if you recall, last Parliament, Michael Barrett had a private member's bill that was up to $50,000.
Yep. And the other thing that should be considered is if you break an ethics law, you're fired. Out.
Yeah.
You are gone from Parliament. You lose your seat. Immediate by-election. Off you go. So there you go. NP Nation, phenomenal questions and comments. Like, it just leads to
awesome
amazing
discussion. Yeah.
Peter Witten for $2. A year to make it happen, then we make it right. There you go. Spark Spikes member for 13 months. I had a bad day the other day, so I put on the Don Davies special. Totally turned my day around. Amazing.
Isn't that great?
And Curdy dropping 10 memberships. Thank you very, very much for that, Curdy. Much appreciated. Lynn Power for $10. Can you try to get an interview with Martha Hall Finley? She is speaking out against pathways and carbon capture, even though she was part of the originating concept.
Oh,
That's
interesting.
fascinating.
Interesting.
Sure. Let's write that down.
I was going to say I'm going to write that down.
Thank you for that, Lynn.
There we go.
Myron Ends for $20. I lost my job in October, laid off, return date in April. That ship sailed. HR called and told me my job was eliminated. Now I'm collecting both EI and a severance package at the same time because it is allowed. Well, at least you're getting a severance package. I guess that's the good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully you will be able to find some employment while that is going on. But if you can, being in that scenario, don't go back too soon. Make sure you're ready and make sure you're at your mental best.
Yeah, because it's a shock to the system, and Ryan had lost his job. Gosh, I guess it was in 2017.
Yeah, previous to the government.
Yeah, like 2017. Vincent was just a baby, and no, it was 2018. Anyway.
2018.
Anyways, and kind of rushed back into a position that ended up not being a good fit, and yeah.
But everything has led me to this path now. So
that's right. Everything for a reason.
Dragon Lord for $2. Thank you for the link. Love the work you do. Thank you very, very much. Ficklenaut for $14. Loving the matching hats. You too. Thanks for keeping us informed with accurate info. Thank you very much. Jessica Van Luke for $14 with the BC Conservative leadership voting starting. I thought I would remind BCers to not vote for Elliott. I want to trust her, but having Corey T as your campaign manager, I just don't know why. I wonder if that'll end up hurting.
I mean, that's a fair opinion.
And Rebus Ace for $5. Aha! Ukraine, one of the many places our tax dollars go to unalive themselves. What an absolute mess. Transcription member for 23 months of the CBC needs my money because Canadian content then hires New York actor Igor Vamos and an American production company to defraud a Canadian. Right? Not just one Canadian. Many. So far, there's been at least
3 on that show and 2 on another, from what I understand.
Well, I don't know if it's all the same thing, like under the same guise. It sounds like it is. So if we count them all up, then there's allegedly at least 5. There's 3 for sure that we know of. And then in our interview with Frances Woodison, she was saying that there was at least another 2 RCMPers and maybe 2 more outside of that. So crazy.
It's absolutely horrible.
Megaman 0 for $5. There is no King Charles, only Muslim advocate. Depot Charles. Sorry, he celebrated Ramadan and refused to give a word for Easter. There's a reason why his mom never wanted him to take the throne. Let me just say that. And Randy McCall, welcome back to NP supporter. Thank you very much. Blisters and Beauties, married for 27 months. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Greetings, NP Nation. A cardinal was at my feeder in Alberta. A rare sighting. Even the birds are leaving Eastern Canada. Light show. No offense. Wait a minute. Hold on.
How dare you?
Nice.
There you go.
YouTube skipped a couple. Thank you to Myron Enns for gifting 20 Northern Perspective memberships. Thank you so much.
Very much.
And then thank you, Dudu, with a $50 super chat. It says, for Ryan, if your back pain is going down to your legs, you might have a pinched sciatic nerve. Best way to fix it is to lay on the floor, put your hands just below your knee, bent to your chest, of course, then extend your leg. Helps fix the pain.
Thank you very much. And yes, I think that's exactly what it is. So, and I had forgotten that stretch, so thank you very much. Megaman 0 for $2. Christia criticizes China. It is not a free land.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Love it. Fickle Knot for $14. Isn't it weird how Russia wants Ukraine and China wants Taiwan and Trump wants to protect Greenland and it's a problem? Am I missing something?
You're missing the liberal logic that makes that a problem.
And of these 3 countries, which one has started wars? Right.
Well,
not the United States.
Well, they have gone, I suppose you could make the argument, they've gone in undemocratically into Venezuela and now Iran, but, you know.
Drivers A's for $5. It's okay if we keep going down the road and we are lucky. Maybe the U.S. will do the same to us as they did to Venezuela. I'm just going to move past that one, Drivers A's.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Doo-doo for $5. Actually, due to the Iran war cutting China off from the oil, China is now starting to back off.
Interesting.
Well, this has been the U.S.'s international chess play, right? So Venezuela were supplying oil to China.
I think it's like 1 million barrels a day or something.
Yep. And I don't even want to say speculated because it's fairly common knowledge that Iran was sending hardware in there and so was China. Not anymore. And then they want to chop off Iran's knees because big ally of China. They're not going to worry about North Korea because, yeah, they have some stuff, but they're not really going to worry about them. They're not as much of a international threat or internationally significant as these other countries. So it's just interesting to see this international chess play out as we move along. But yes, to be a fly on the wall in those discussions between Trump and Xi Jinping. Blisters and Beauty for $5. Tanya, you look fab. Can't wait to see you at the Stampede.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really excited about it. My parents are getting really excited, and Vincent's getting excited because I told him, I said, you know, in the summer we're going to go on an airplane with Nana and Papa, and we're going to go to Calgary. And he has no idea where Calgary is, but he's very excited to be on the plane.
Plane. Fast.
Yeah.
Craig on the Prairie's marked for 29 months. Got my new NP gear today, wearing my green political cowboy zip hoodie right now. Awesome. Looks great, and it's super comfy. The t-shirts are awesome as well. Can't wait to see you again at Stampede. P.S. Tip of my hat to Michael Chong. Absolutely. I always love to hear when people are satisfied with the merch.
Yeah, they do a really good job. Yeah.
And when they don't, they hear it.
Yeah.
Kinfolk for $5. Video of Diana, Carney, and Obama was scrubbed from the internet. Why?
No idea.
Sure. Not sure about that one. Justin Brown for $7. It was Wyatt who came out with a report of Jibo leaving in the summer. Got it.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Carol Riom, member for 24 months. Big thanks to Ryan and Tanya and all of the independent media people who keep us informed and educate us about our government in the crazy place in this world. Absolutely. It's a team effort. And Watch Your Eyes too for $10. Carney should lecture China, a huge global polluter, about carbon credits, carbon rupture, and his GFANS fantasy. Canada's carbon footprint is negligible when compared to China, India, and the US. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Carney should go and run for prime minister in China and see how that works out. I encourage him to do so. I'll be your campaign manager.
Number one, I think it's a president, and number two, I don't think you run.
He can do anything. He will make it a Westminster system. He already has.
I doubt that.
Give me credit for it. He anyway.
Yeah, it was Mark Carney who invented the Westminster system, and he signed the Magna Carta back
Right.
in
And he founded the People's Republic of China.
He could do anything.
And we have Trish Pruill, member for 29 months. Thank you so much. United the Kingdom rally in London was huge, even with the UK government banning some conservative media and politicians from EU from entering the UK.
Interesting.
Shared values. Sounds like shared values to me. Rabbit says for $5. I am just an IT guy, but in my opinion, if China doesn't get off its butt and do the things in the next 10 years and the pop decline issues, they soon won't be able. Yeah. They're gonna have problems.
That's actually a very interesting point. I recall a while back watching an episode on trigonometry about like the depopulation bomb, they were calling it, and China especially is going to have problems, but so will most of the Western world.
And we have Legion 14 for $5. We need to become a constitutional republic at this point. And Jessica Van Luke for $7. I remember when we had a great relationship with Taiwan under Harper. We had a lot of great things under Harper.
Yeah, we did.
It wasn't perfect, but we had a lot of great things.
It's better than now.
Lazarus for $10. Wish Taiwan was right across the street. That red line, I'd look at and give them the one finger salute, and I'd cross that damn line. No government will ever tell me what I can and cannot do. There you go. And there's our drop of 5 gifted memberships. So there you go. Looks like we hit 2,000 likes.
We sure
we're at
did.
2,200.
Awesome.
And RC300 for $7. Being you're an IT guy, is there any way to VPN around or any other way we can get around C22 so the Liberals can't spy on us even if the bill passes? So I have to understand the legislation.
We haven't done the deep dive on it yet, have we?
From a technical standpoint, but legislation is very rarely technical because they don't have guys like me and Revisades and the other IT guys in Parliament. So my guess is that if you are able to use a US only VPN or an external to Canada VPN, then you might still be able to get around it because you would be, to a degree, as long as it's an encrypted VPN, which it usually is, you can get out, go down to the US, and then they, in theory, would be out of jurisdiction. So
this is for the IT folks in the crowd, including you. It looks like it's in the brief stage in committee.
Yeah, I need to write a brief.
So you can write a brief and send it to, let me see which committee. Hold on a second. It is the Standing Committee on Public Safety and National Security.
There you go.
Another thing that you can do is you can email the individual MPs. You don't necessarily have to write a formal brief if you don't want to or you don't know how to. You can just email the MPs on the Standing Committee on Public Safety and National Security and let them know your thoughts.
Coconut for $5. I forget what stream I was watching, but they referred to Cochrane as Caillou. And
Caillou, yeah.
Oh, Caillou, and now I can't unhear it. It suits him so well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. Where's my button? It's over here. Where's my button? Where's my? Oh, there it is.
Oral questions. Oral questions.
Oral questions.
Let's be careful about some of the words we use. People are watching at home. Their kids are watching.
Alrighty, it is NP question period time. You guys ask us the questions and we give you the answers, unlike real question period. If you do have questions, just tag at Barnaby from Northern Perspective and he will copy and paste them up to us and we're going to get through as many as we can. Let's go. First one is from Jessica Van Luke. It says, will you guys consider speaking at the next IDU forum? A great opportunity to meet conservatives from all over the world and talk about independent media. I don't know. I suppose if we're asked to speak. This one.
Oh, yeah, sure. Why not?
Never say never. Sometimes though it has to be like just Ryan because I have to hang out with Vincent. So
it's very rare that we say no. So.
Yeah. Next question is from Autistic Avenger. It says, what if enough Liberals resign and those ridings change parties or some current members defect and join the NDP? That would mean the government could easily fall.
Yep.
Absolutely. And honestly, with how volatile things sound right now, I think that may happen or it has a good chance of happening. Let's say that.
Well, and this isn't wishful thinking from us. You have political pundits that are saying the same thing as we are. That, because remember, we've been saying for months now, this is a fragile majority. And politics is like pro-line. Anything can happen. Anyone can win. So it's very possible that the Liberals go down to a minority government again at some point, in which committees will be reconstituted and the government could fall. So that's why, people are like, okay, so we're not having an election until 2029.
Possibly.
We'll see.
Or it could be sooner. Like, we don't know.
Carney could go. I saw this one article today where this guy was proposing that the Conservatives are quietly looking to replace Pierre Poilievre, and they may look to do it between 2027 and 2028. That way, they could do that and then look for a leader that would be strong going in the next election. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, listen, I am not a 20-year political strategist, but hello, are you new? What would happen right then and there is Mark Carney would call an election right then and there. Yeah. That's what would happen.
That's exactly what would happen, because remember, the government can dissolve itself anytime it wants.
Anytime. So if the Conservatives say we're going to go to a leadership race, boom, and they wait like a month or two for the candidates to all start lining up and getting things going. Mark Carney, hey everybody, we're going to a federal election right now. Conservative Party has no leader.
Yeah.
Congrats. And what would happen is the Conservative Party executive of Canada would have to appoint a leader to go into that next election. And maybe they appoint Pierre Poilievre. I don't know.
Yeah, it would be.
The irony would be hilarious is if that happened, and then they appointed Pierre Poilievre, and then the Conservatives won the election. Now he's Prime Minister. Can you imagine?
I don't think they can appoint somebody who has been voted down.
Probably not.
But that's all just your crazy hypothetical. Next question is from Imnod JP or Imnod J Productions, possibly. Sorry if I butchered that. Do you think an election in the fall is possible with a conservative government outcome? 3 weeks ago, I would have said no, that we're stuck in this till 2029. Now, I think it is within the realm of possibility. How possible, I'm not sure. But it's not impossible.
I think if Mark Carney calls an election this year, his government will fall and the Conservatives will take over, because he's handing the Conservatives the election on a platter, because there's no excuse. There's no excuse for him to be calling an election now, only to try and get more seats. It's going to be Paul Martin to Stephen Harper all over again.
This is from Domino S. It says, good evening. Should Pierre and his team up with someone like Red Pill North and make a fun AI video instead of just the same old talking point videos? I don't know. Like, everything in politics is risk versus reward, right? So if the reward is, hey, we made this fun video, it really rallies our base and they really like it and it's fun. But then maybe you have the risk of the liberals are criticizing us based on the style of the video, the people in the video, what we said in the video, et cetera, and that drives the swing voters away. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's they have to keep innovating. They have to keep getting creative. They have to keep it fresh. That's going to be the biggest challenge that the Conservatives have, because if they stick with one issue and that turns into the perception of they're just whining about it, that's going to be a problem. So they have to keep it fresh. But I think they do have a bunch of material on him, and they're pacing themselves. That's what I think is happening here.
Wolf547 asks, do you think the alleged money laundering in Ukraine, do you think Justin Trudeau, Chrystia Freeland, and Mark Carney will be investigated? And will the mainstream media report on this?
If there's solid evidence that comes out about it during like any investigations, I think they're going to be forced to report on it, and then that's going to be a very interesting association when it comes to Mark Carney, either quote unquote innocent or not. So, Wyatt mentioned in chat that he thinks Mark Carney's only one scandal away from his popularity taking a dip. I agree with that, and I think based on what we've seen, I think the Conservatives are being very, very careful to choose which one to really go after him on, because they need to be right. Like, they can't afford to be wrong. They must be right, and they must be able to have the receipts. Even if they are right, but if they can't show it, they have to be right and be able to show it demonstrably.
Yeah, you have to prove it.
Otherwise, it risks the opposite reaction happening, which is crying wolf, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out.
Peter Witten asks, should I let Boo, my new barn kitty, have kittens? She's really sweet, but becoming frisky. If she was anything like Khalid, I would get her fixed immediately. I hope you get my twisted sense of humor and my kindness. So I'm going to assume that the question about your cat is serious. And my opinion is always to get them spayed and neutered as fast as your vet allows. When I worked at the spay neuter clinic, we would spay neuter them as early as 8 weeks old. And that is because it, in the long run, is usually healthier for them. They don't develop certain types of cancers. They can't get pregnant. What was I going to say? That, we had a cat when Ryan and I first started dating. His cat was about 5 years old. Her name was Kitty. And she got a really, really nasty infection called pyometra. Don't look that up on Google if you're squeamish. Basically, it's an infection in the uterus. And then many years later, she ended up with mammary cancer because she was constantly going through those heat cycles. So spaying and neutering them as early as your vet allows is usually the recommended approach. Jessica Van Luke asks, will you guys stream the BC Conservative leadership announcement next Saturday? I know you guys were thinking about this earlier. So if that's the 23rd, then we will be engaged with the CCFA, is it? Tracy's organization?
It's going to be...
It's on the 23rd.
Is it on the 23rd?
Yeah. It's on the Saturday.
Oh, is that the...
Yeah.
Did she say the leadership?
Yeah, I think that's on the 23rd, isn't it?
I don't know. So we have one idea about it, but it again, it all depends on timing. So we're still finalizing some things. So if it's going to be next Saturday, then we will not be, because we will be otherwise engaged. But we will see. It's on the 30th, is what Jessica says.
30th. Okay,
which
so that's
makes
the week
sense.
after. Okay.
So we have an idea about it. Whether we're going to be streaming something or not is up for debate, but we have an idea.
Okay. He has an idea. Do you think, this is from Joey Prefontaine. It says, do you think Pierre will run in Gladhu's riding as it is a Conservative riding?
It's possible. I have another theory about where he might run, but it would it would depend on one of the other current MPs retiring, because they've been there for a while. But I don't want to talk about that because
we've heard lots of rumors, we'll put it that way, and they're like all over the country. So
I think in a riding where someone crosses the floor, in my opinion, I think the best thing for that riding, this is my uneducated opinion, is that someone from that riding should be acclaimed. That's my thought. Because it sends a message, and it also demonstrates that, you know, we can take back this riding. We don't need somebody from outside to come in. Yes, it's a fairly secure riding, 100%, but there's other factors at play there too. So, so I would say, if I'm a betting guy, I would say that Pierre will not run in that riding.
Tim Noyce says, I've always wondered, is the mountain on the MP logo supposed to be in the shape of a fist, like the kid holding a fist meme?
No.
Are we sure? I don't know. I could ask the designer.
No.
It was Vesper, so I could ask it.
The mountain is a reflection of our original logo. And the mountain also has what looks like a bunch of, almost like a bunch of points with network stars in them. Like you can see them in some of the backgrounds that we use. And the mountain is, you know, that symbolizes, you know, the journey to the summit, right? Where the summit represents truth and clarity, and that's what Northern Perspective is about, is that really sometimes very hard journey to actually find the truth and going through that difficulty to expose it. And then those points, it symbolizes a few different things. Number one, it symbolizes all of the different points around Canada, and all of those points are not isolated. That's why you see those lines, and it almost looks like a network. So we're all connected around Canada. So that's what all of that is about. You know, so there's a lot of thought that actually goes into that logo.
Next question is from Jeff McQuiggan. It says, where can I get a Liberal MP's excuses to get a balanced perspective when Danko's staff refused to answer since I live in Ned's riding? That's bizarre. If it's on a specific topic, you may be able to go onto their website and they might have like a policy declaration that says like, for X topic, this is the party's position. Can you think of anything else?
Where can I get a Liberal MP's excuses to get a balanced perspective? You can try Lisa Hebner. You can try her. You try Mark Carney's office.
I was gonna say, who's in Hamilton Center?
JP Danko.
No, Danko's in H-Wad.
Oh, he's in H-Wad.
Maybe try the MP's office in Hamilton Center. I don't know if maybe they'll be more eager, because I think it's a new guy, because it was Matthew Green before,
yeah,
and now it's not.
So Hamilton Center is Aslam Rana.
Maybe they'll talk to you. I'm honestly not sure.
Maybe it's because it's a new office. Maybe they'll be more enthusiastic. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't understand why they wouldn't want to converse with you if you're being polite and, you know.
Yeah, don't say you're a conservative.
This is from, actually it doesn't say who it's from, but it says, do you think this pipeline talk is a tactic, a way for Brookfield to get their hands on it so they could make billions and have carbon capture interests both worlds?
I can't say without.
Let it go, Vizio.
It's I can't really say. It's too early. I think this is Carney trying to say that they're going to get a pipeline, just so they can say that. But they've put so many restrictions in place, it's going to be a problem. So it's hard to say anything when nobody is involved right now. Because even Brookfield won't be coming up with these restrictions. I think if it's going to be anybody, it might be Enbridge. I don't know, but it's hard to know.
Spark Spice asks, question for you, Ryan. In IT, is the phrase, have you tried turning it off and on again, actual advice?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And it doesn't matter how senior or how low you are. Like, if you... Like, seriously. And it doesn't matter if you've been in IT for 6 months or 60 years. That's the first question.
Well, and like I was trying to do the books the other day, and I couldn't get my printer to work. And I was like, Ryan, can you please fix my printer? And then after he fixes it, I was like, what was wrong? He's like, you didn't turn it off and on again, did you?
Because it wasn't connecting to the Wi-Fi. So what was the first thing I do? I turn it off. I turn it on. Literally, first rule of IT. Like, that's the hilarious thing about it. Everyone thinks it's a joke. It is not. It is not. And turning it off and on doesn't necessarily mean you turn the whole thing off. Sometimes it's you restart the browser. Sometimes it's you restart the service. Sometimes it's you reestablish the network port. It doesn't matter how senior you are. It always applies.
R1995-X6R asks, if somehow there was a non-confidence vote, is it mandatory that Carney's buddy Governor General has to call an election, or is there a way Carney can continue on? So interestingly, and this has only happened once in our history, but there was, I don't recall if it was a non-confidence vote or if Parliament was dissolved by the Prime Minister. It was back in the 1920s. And instead of going to election, the Governor General turned to the opposition parties and said, can you guys form a coalition and govern together? And it caused a constitutional crisis known as the King Byng Affair. So technically, if Carney falls with a non-confidence vote, the Governor General can say, well, we just had an election a year ago. Hey, Conservatives, can you guys form a coalition with the other parties and govern the country?
Yeah, so in short, the Governor General is supposed to maintain confidence of the House, or basically recommend the party that's going to maintain confidence in the House. So in a case where if the Liberals lose a vote of confidence, then by definition, the Governor General can't keep Mark Carney in power because his party has lost the confidence in the House. It wouldn't happen. There's a lot of people that will say, well, it could. No, it wouldn't happen. Because that would cause a constitutional crisis. And all heck would break loose in the world of constitutional law in Canada. So Carney loses a non-confidence vote. No, the Governor General cannot keep him in power. And the courses of action are exactly as Tanya outlined. So either, she calls an election or sees if other parties can form a coalition. But because that hasn't happened since that time, it is reasonable to expect with above 90% certainty that it would just go to an election.
Debbie Moore asks, whatever happened to firing MPs for doing corrupt things? I remember an MP being removed because of an $18 glass of orange juice.
16? Let's be accurate.
No, it was 18, wasn't it?
I think it was 16.
Anyway, the orange juice with Bev Oda was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, and that was the one that the media picked up on, and I think that's why they got rid of her.
16.
Oh, it was 16. All right. Anyways, she had a history of overspending, allegedly. So I think that was just kind of like the final push.
Kind of like the $100,000 dry cleaning bill for the Governor General. And then if she spent $20 on a chocolate bar.
Ray Mercedes asks, legal question regarding VPN. ExpressVPN is owned from the US, so would probably be okay. For the one I host myself, would it be Canadian jurisdiction because I built it? So before I let Ryan answer the question, I'm just going to say that we are not legal experts. So this is just an opinion. It is not meant to be legal advice.
So my understanding, again, based on my current understanding of the bill, which I haven't gone through in detail yet, is that if there is infrastructure hosted within the geopolitical confines of Canada, then it would apply. That's my understanding. So why would Facebook apply? Because Facebook has servers and infrastructure in Canada. Like they have it in Canadian data centers and things like that. There's reasons for that. So it's possible that if you use VPN services outside of Canada that don't have infrastructure in Canada, then yes, that's my current understanding is it's reasonable to think that those would not be affected. But it depends on what amendments on make it into this bill, and if there's any IT people that have any hand in that.
Next question is from Linda Skellhorn. It says, what happens if 5 Liberals tell the Conservative Party they want to cross the floor and we say no?
Well, then nothing happens.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what would happen.
Yeah. Because
I think the Conservatives would make it public.
Yeah, maybe. But I know last Parliament there were Liberals who wanted to cross the floor to the Conservatives because they were down in the polls so badly. And the party told them no. And I don't blame them, because if you have these people coming to you, oh, I'm going to lose my seat, can I just come on your team? You're not really concerned about promoting conservative values. You're not really concerned about standing up for your conservative constituents. You're concerned about keeping your job. And that doesn't necessarily make a good MP. Peter Witten asks, what are your thoughts on the parliamentary budget officer? Will she be accountable as well as Jason Jakes?
Early indications are yes, but that remains to be seen. The main difference, I think, is that, again, she has a office behind her, and she has Jason Jakes behind her as well. So, as I said earlier, it's going to be kind of weird and difficult if the Parliamentary Budget Office puts together analysis that exposes that Mark Carney doesn't, well...
He has no idea what he is talking about.
I still have to fix the other channel on that. It's going to be hard for the budget officer to come out and say, everything's fine, everybody. Don't worry about it. All heck would break loose, I think, pretty quickly. So, but, again, remains to be seen. So far, with this early report and says, yeah, Mark Carney is not doing a great job. That's early indication that she is trying to be objective. So, again, credit where credit is due.
And last question for the evening is from Scott Taylor. It says, what good is a pipeline when the tanker ban is still there?
That's
or have they lifted that and I missed it?
Nope, haven't lifted it. Great question. Inquiring minds want to know. And what happens by the fact that it seems like David Eby still gets a veto on this? So what's the point? That's the question, right? This feels like a political game of chicken between Danielle Smith and Mark Carney.
It really does. Yeah. And why would you give David Eby the veto? Because as far as I understand, since it is an interprovincial pipeline, it's completely federal jurisdiction. Nobody else gets a say.
Yep. So. I
mean, look at what they're doing with Alto. People in Ontario are saying no. People in Quebec are saying no. And the government's like, well, it's an interprovincial high-speed train, so we get the final say.
Yep. Someone said Harper should run again. If they do something stupid and Pierre ends up stepping down, why not? Can you imagine? That'd be a great campaign, actually. Harper the economist versus Carney the economist. It'll never happen, but it would be it'd be one of those interesting thought experiments that you play out. But again, I still think Pierre's the guy. So Legion 14 for $10. I would like a liar's tax. Every lie politician says $1,000 and doubles every lie thereafter. I concur with that.
Could you imagine?
Can you imagine what the chances are of them actually putting this into law?
Chances are near zero.
Well, how would you prove it? That's the only problem. The only real way to prove it is if evidence comes up afterwards, if you perjure yourself or something in committee.
You just have to do this.
Look inside yourself, Rosemary.
That's all you have to do. Carol Riom for $10. A proposal for MPs breaking ethics laws, fines of 10 to 25% of annual earnings, and removed from Parliament percentage rather than fixed rate scale with inflation rising wages. Watch inflation drop. You and I are of one mind, Carol, and no, I didn't read your answer before I was answering before, because then I would be fined $1,000. So
for lying.
Doo-doo for $10. For BC Conservative voting, I highly recommend Finlay. She is the only true Conservative running, and her plans for a united Western Front can be the thing that stands up to Carney and save Canada. There you go, folks. Adam Canadian, member for 25 months. Thank you guys for all your hard work. So much respect for both of you. Perhaps a spin-off for NP Provincial Edition. Be hard, but maybe possible. Oh, anything's possible. Anything's possible, but holy moly. I would need staff at that point.
More staff. We have one staff.
I'd need staff.
We need a lot of staff.
Roy Dixon, member for 13 months. There's an animated video on Facebook of C22.
Interesting. I wonder how accurate it is.
Is it just a bunch of guys running around putting duct tape over everyone's face? Installing microphones and everything like that into our offices and everything. Matthew, member for 15 months. Thanks for all you both do. My son and I so enjoy the work you're doing. Thank you very much. Jessica Van Luke for $7. I'd rather switch to the Danish monarchy. Anyways, I have so much respect for King Frederick and Queen Mary. Mary is from Australia and learn Danish. There you go.
Very cool.
And we have Dudu for $5. Also recommend visiting Callaway Park or Calgary Zoo when you're in Calgary.
Awesome. I know my mom desperately wants to go to Banff, so we're going to Banff. And the zoo might be fun. Vincent might like the zoo.
Ladies and gentlemen, Governor General has arrived. Lee Busby for $7. You guys should read Unsettled by Stephen E. Coonan. He shows the flaw of the data and carbon climate change being a problem. It shows the left out data. Interesting. Thank you. Watch Your Eyes 2 for $5. May 2026. Envision Insight Group gets $583,848 in federal contracts. Lori Idlout is major shareholder. Any news on her son, Robin?
So we haven't actually determined that the Robin from Winnipeg is her son.
We haven't determined that he's
not. But before we announce anything like that, especially given the charges that he sustained, we want to make really sure that they're related. You know what I mean?
I managed to contact the original news outlet that published the only report that I could find about this person named Robin that was charged. And I asked, is this Lori Idlout's son?
And they didn't know.
They wouldn't confirm. They're just like, what would you do with that information?
Talk about it.
I'm like, that's interesting.
We know she has a son named Robin.
Yes.
That we were able to confirm. But
we've done a bunch of research on this.
Is it the same person? No idea. And again, given those charges, I don't want to make that connection if we're not sure.
Most of the things that we found is people on social media putting stuff together.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean it's wrong, but it's not enough for Northern Perspective. So.
Because I don't want to get sued. Okay. Next one is from Casper H, gifting 10 Northern Perspective memberships. Thank you so much.
Myron Nance for $5. I personally think Pierre is the best person to lead the Conservative Party.
100%.
I personally believe you're right. And Tats are me for 23 months. One more month and another milestone. Thank you for the educational and continual coverage of our government. And thank you so much for tolerating us. One of the OGs. Well, let's see. We have Barking Up the Right Tree, another one of my favorite names. You know who I haven't seen today?
How dare you?
Hey guys, did you see Edison finally got their hybrid semis approved for production? Millions of tax dollars couldn't keep Stellantis, but a few connects with the dream and no tax dollars. We are resilient. You know,
that's awesome.
Wish them well. Wish them well. Wish them all the success in the world. Canadian ingenuity. It's about time we had some.
No, we have lots of Canadian ingenuity. Well, the problem is when you have big government, it squashes Canadian ingenuity.
By the time we had unrestrained Canadian ingenuity. Yeah. And Barry Ransom dropping 20 Northern Perspective memberships. Thank you very, very much for that. For everyone receiving memberships, hopefully you're thanking these wonderful people. And JLS for $2.79. Replace Pierre. No CBC promotes as they fear Pierre.
They do, yeah.
Peter Witten for $2.
You just
Gave too much time for my last question.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if it was a serious one or not. I mean, I'm still licensed, so I try my best to answer. But because I'm a veterinary technician and not a veterinarian, most of my stuff ends in "but ask your vet."
Jessica Van Luke for $7. No election till at least 2027, 2028, in my opinion. I don't disagree with that. There's no way Carney will build a pipeline if some of his MPs don't support it. There's just no way. Well, we'll see. We'll see how much the CEO arrogance carries him. We will see. Coco Donny for $2. Fuzzy's purring is making my sub hum nicely. That's funny.
Awesome.
Jessica Van Luke for $2.79. Cat ASMR alert. And Rose says for $2. Has Mark Carney even visited his riding yet? He's visited, but who knows how many I know he's visited at least once. RC Lammer for $2. Within 30 days, says all political traitors arrested. Not sure I understand that. Jessica Van Luke for $7. Do you think Danielle Smith has fallen through Carney's trap, or is she just improvising? No, I think because remember, she's playing her own politics in Alberta, right? So I think that she is calculating politically that she is doing everything that she can to get a pipeline to ensure that she retains her support, and she is going to try to paint this as, well, we're going to do everything on our side of the bargain. You guys have to make sure that you do everything on your side. So they're going to have to provide a route on July 1st, which is what they've committed to.
That's only like 6 weeks away.
Yes, but I would be surprised if Danielle Smith has just started. I imagine this has been going on for a while. If it hasn't, then good luck to you. But I imagine that that work has been going on. And if she is smart, which she's demonstrated that she is, she's going to give Carney no excuse. And if it doesn't go through, she's going to put it back on him. And if David Eby does the veto, which is, there's nothing legally binding about that, she's going to point to Mark Carney and say, you don't have to listen to that. Let's go. So I think that's the way she's playing it. And then Mark Carney is playing this on the fact that, well, it's going to be so restrictive that no one's going to come. And I don't think she's going to come through with her route. I don't think David Eby is going to support this. So I think they're both kind of making, I think Carney's making more assumptions and kind of hoping this doesn't happen more than Danielle Smith is using a hope and a prayer to get it to happen. So do I think it's possible both of them know a pipeline will not be built? Maybe. But they're both, I think, banking on different political consequences as a result of that.
Well, if you're Danielle Smith, you want to do everything that you can. And then when it fails, you want to point to Mark Carney and go, that's the guy whose fault it is.
Well, and she's in my opinion, she's kind of in a no-lose scenario, because if it does get now she gets to be like,
look what I did. Yeah.
How many years? How many decades? And I got one built. So, now that's with no insider information. That's pure speculation. Valerie Jordan, member for 27 months. My favorite IT acronym is PEBCAT. But you spelled it wrong. You spelled it wrong. It's PEBCAK.
Oh.
CAK. Problem exists between share and keyboard.
Which means you.
Yes. It's the user. PEBCAK. My favorite is ID10T. That's my favorite. So.
Man, one time we had those Microsoft scammers calling, and Ryan was screwing around on the phone with them for a good 10 minutes, telling him he had an ID10T error.
Yeah, you didn't know. You didn't know what it was.
And then he told the guy to write it out.
Yeah.
And then he started getting yelled at.
Yeah. Okay, I'm there. I'm getting this ID10T error. I don't understand. And he's like, and he couldn't understand. I said, write it out. And then he starts swearing.
Oh, he was mad.
He was not happy. He's like, why do you waste my time? I'm like, dude, you're trying to scam me. Wasting your time. I just saved some other person who would have been scammed the time from actually getting scammed.
Well, that's it.
Watch Your Eyes 24 for $5. April 26th, IDLOT announces $108.7 million in federal funding to upgrade water systems. Any news about her son Robin? We answered that earlier, so hopefully you caught that.
I think this one got skipped. It's Gamer with MS, member for 30 months. It says, Ryan, I'm sure you know what a DPN is.
A DPN?
Yeah. Off to Google we go. I don't think that one showed up on your screen. Oh.
I'll think about that one. Jessica Van Luke for $2.79. Kittens turn 3 weeks on Wednesday.
Yay! Please keep posting photos in the Facebook group because I love them all.
Gordon Muir, member for 24 months. Do you have any updates on Maya's condition? I have not heard or seen anything in a while. Oh, we can continue posting those if people want. So there's actually been some good updates. Making progress. Had a successful cranioplasty. Making good progress. There was a video of her kind of exploring her dad's face. So that was really great to see. I think the thing that I think everyone's going to be wondering about is, will she be able to speak ever again? What does she understand? She is responding to instruction by the sounds of it. So, without getting into, what does the future hold? She's not even supposed to be alive right now, and she is making great progress. So, all of our thoughts continue to be with her and her family. So, so from everything that we've seen, it's going well. Legion 14 for $5. ATI was Canadian. Yes, it was. And we had a world-class GPU facility. Yes, we did. But alas, AMD bought them out and got rid of it. Yeah, because they wanted to. They were having a hard time at the time competing with Intel, and so they bought AMD to kind of harmonize their processor business with the graphics business. I actually knew a guy. He works at IBM, and he knew a guy who works at ATI, and I guess every couple of years they got a free graphics card.
Sweet.
So, I can't remember if he gave the guy I knew his old one, or if he was satisfied with the one he had, he would just give it to the guy I knew. I'm like, man, lucky you. So, but that was back when ATI was great. And now they still make decent cards, but NVIDIA is just so far ahead of them right now. Like, so far ahead of them. And Revis for $5. It's okay, though. Once we sell all of the airports and ports to Chinese conglomerates, maybe finally, then Carney will approve the pipelines. Maybe.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten into the whole selling the airports thing.
There's too much garbage going on right now, so... Watch Your Eyes 24 for $5. Why was Robin Idlot removed from Lori Idlot's Wikipedia page after she crossed the aisle? Anyone can confirm this on Wikipedia.
No idea.
Yeah, there's...
Do they have to leave like editor's notes when they remove things or add things on Wikipedia?
Well, and here's the other thing. Like, you're supposed to be accurate, because if he is her son, why isn't he there? That's
yeah,
a question.
No clue.
But it raises questions, right? And that's what you're saying. Jessica Van Luke for $7. Maya will be able to start taking showers soon, too, in the latest update from her dad. Excellent. Oh, yeah, I read that. Yeah. Rebusades for $5. Decentralized private network. This is a serverless P2P alternative to a traditional VPN that distributes your internet traffic across a decentralized network. There you go. I thought it was kind of leaning that way, but I couldn't remember the actual acronyms. Thank you for that. HD Dave for $5. Dunkin' Donuts arrives. Mark Carney. I've invented another donut shop.
All right.
I heard that they're putting some in where it was Toronto and Montreal, I think.
Yeah, so press release, and Mark Carney comes out and says,
"You guys are gonna love this one."
Right? And then, I've invented donuts.
The best donuts are still Granddad's Donuts here in Hamilton. So if you are ever in Hamilton, make sure you go to Granddad's Donuts. And go early because the best donuts sell out early.
Legion 14 for $2. To be fair, AMD cards are great for Linux right now. Yes, that is true. That is true. Peter Witten for $5. Can we wrap this up? The thunder and rain are moving in on Chatsworth. Perfect time for some rest. Love NP Nation. Yeah, we're almost done. Jessica Van Luke for $7. It's pretty unknown if she will speak or walk again. She already proved her doctors wrong, so they don't want to say no to anything yet. Absolutely.
And you know, that was one of the things that the doctors had said to us when Vincent was very young and still not speaking. And we're like, is he going to be able to be independent when he's older? Is he going to be able to speak? Is he going to be able to do things like drive a car? And they're like, listen, we're not going to tell you yes or no, because if we tell you yes and it doesn't happen, then, you know, we don't want to get your hopes up. We don't want to get sued. And if we tell you no, he'll never speak, well, then you won't bother with things like speech therapy. So I think that's why in cases like that, they're a little bit more reserved to give like a proper trajectory, I guess.
So assume they can until they show you that they can't.
Yeah.
But thank you for that. And Whiffers SS for $20. Lots of options west of Calgary. Kananaskis Park, Canmore, Lake Louise on the BC side of the border, Kicking Horse Pass, Radium Hot Springs. Yeah, I was playing around on Google Maps and just looking like just on some of the roads inside like the passes in there. Oh, it's wild. It's wild. Crazy. Beautiful country. Beautiful country out there. So, anyway, folks, my butt is starting to hurt. Lots.
Thanks for sharing.
So, for those that don't know why that is, go back to the beginning of the stream. You'll find out. Don't go back to the right beginning, though, because it'll be black.
It's because he has sciatica. I'll save you the trip.
So, anyway, thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us on a long weekend. Some of you may have had better things to do, but what's a better thing to do than hanging out with Northern Perspective on a Sunday night, talking politics and stuff. But thank you so much to everybody for tuning in and supporting us. We do have, we can say because we have footage in hand. So we were able to actually interview Dan Major, who is one of the MPs on the Standing Committee for Health. He is one of the MPs spearheading the investigation into Prescribe IT. So we got to chat with him. And we also have another interview that we are going to be dropping at some point with Kelly DeRitter. And we talk about her journey and her private members bill that she will be, or that she has introduced. So there's a couple of pieces of footage that are really, really interesting that are going to be coming up shortly, but there's a lot to cover, and we don't have enough time or people in order to cover it. So, but have a wonderful long weekend. Thanks for hanging out with us, and come on out to the Cambridge event. Come on out to the Sarnia event and any of the other events that are happening over the summer. We're going to be busy everywhere, and we would love to say hi and get a picture with you at some point. But until then, have a good night, and we'll see you in the comments.
Take care.
Our fathers fought so our voices could be free, that thought and conscience would not bow to decree those rights and law. Only if we choose to take a stand without compromising truth. This land is more than headlines, more than noise and rage. We cut through all the chaos line by line, page by page. NP Nation, raise your voice tonight. Every province, every distant sky, we stand for something. We don't step aside. Truth in our hands, hope in our eyes. No corner of this country stands alone. What we ignore still shapes the road back home. Power grows when people step aside. We move forward and be nationwide. From the coastlines to the prairies and mountain shadow, harbor rain. We carry all these stories, turn the fear into a flame. NP Nation, raise your voice tonight. Every province, every distant sky. We stand for something, we don't step aside. Truth in our hands, hope in our eyes. NP Nation, this is where we rise. We've been bruised, but we're breathing. Yeah, the work cuts deep. Still we answer every morning for the true north, strong and free. Canada, you're worth the struggle. Every question, every call. We're exhausted, but we're upright. We refuse to watch you fall. NP Nation, raise your voice tonight. Every province, every distant sky. We stand for something, we don't step aside. Truth in our hands, hope in our eyes. NP Nation, this is where we rise. Freedom thrives, and truth is on our side. When we resist despair and the power that divides, so we step forward, no more standing by.